Hello everyone, welcome to this Sims 3 Create a World video. So this is episode 22 of Plymouth Isle, which is a world that I'm creating entirely from scratch, and you can check out the entire series. I have a playlist on my channel, and in this episode we're working on several lots actually around the world. So getting some stuff done here, making some progress. So this lot right here that I'm working on is going to just be mainly decorative. It really serves no function, and I'm calling it Hillside Fort because it's meant to be a fort. So like the idea behind it is like, this is kind of a New England style / theme to this world. So, I was thinking maybe whenever, this island was first, colonized by Europeans or whatever, they built this fort here to like have a defense for their civilization or like the little village or whatever. So yeah, that was kind of the idea behind it. That's why it looks very old and kind of, well, not really medieval because that would be the wrong time period, but it just looks very old, I guess. So I thought that it would be kind of cool to have here. This is built on lot 108. Which is kind of on this hillside here. It's kind of on the other side of the world from all the other lots that we've been building, and it's a community lot. It's kind of off the road, and it was always meant to just be some sort of park or whatever, and I have this labeled as a small park. So your Sims can just come visit, and that's about it. I put some spawners on here, but for the most part it's just a visual kind of thing. It's just kind of a decorative lot. So that's kind of the main idea. Also in this video, I tackle the fishing spot, and actually that was a pun not intended there. I tackled the fishing spot. Anyway, and I also do the graveyard, and I do just a little kind of dock for the Lighthouse island. But yeah, we achieve 4 lots in this video, so good progress. But anyway, we'll talk about this lot here a little bit more. So it is quite a large lot. I guess not really. It's 30 by 30, but what's most interesting about this lot is the terrain on it. It's very steep, especially in the back kind of part of the lot here. You can see where the tower is. I had to use the constrained floor elevation cheat to make kind of the back of the building go into the terrain. And then the front of the entrance is actually very far off the ground, and it's in the basement level, technically. And I had to put a lot of stairs to get into it. So you'll see once I start wrapping up this lot, after I think a lot of landscaping, I put in the stairs, and you'll see that they're going to be very far off, the building is very far off the ground. So the stairs are just very long. But anyway, you can see here I'm just putting in some windows. Those windows are from, I think, World Adventures. They're from like the Egyptian kind of set, and I don't think they have glass in them. I think they're just kind of holes in the wall. And I also put archways and stuff, and you can see there's kind of like this, well, it's kind of a basement where you enter, and then there's like the main level, which is just has like this courtyard area, and it's kind of like the wall going around, and then there's the tower that provides access to the top of the wall, and then also there's the top of the tower, which kind of serves as a lookout. But this fort actually has a pretty good view of the ocean, at least facing one way. I mean, you can kind of see all around if you imagine the trees aren't there, and I make this look very abandoned. So once I finish up with all the colors and stuff, I'm going to put a lot of plants and bushes and stuff on the lot, and you'll see it ends up looking very old and kind of like abandoned. So I guess you could imagine that this would be a little bit more helpful, or I guess if there wasn't so many trees. But yeah, here we go. So I end up putting in a lot of trees around it. I also put one tree that actually goes up through the middle of the building, like kind of grew in there. And yeah, so just a lot of trees. There's the tree in the middle. I also put in a lot of bushes too. There's going to be just a lot of thick foliage around here because it's supposed to just kind of look overgrown, and like they just forgot about it after a while. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea behind it. And I'm going to put the stairs up the front here of this. of the lot. So the stairs will go right up the front, and yeah, so doing that, just doing some detail work here, changing I think the color of the stone there just very slightly. And I'm also going to put a stone texture for all the ground and stuff. I was also trying to put this ivy on the wall, but it really wouldn't work too well. It was kind of just annoying because they didn't join up well. You know, it's not like The Sims 4 where you can place these things wherever you want. They just kind of have to go in their certain areas. And there's also this weird thing happening. Every time I move the ivy, it also went up slightly, which was even more annoying because then they lined up even less, so whatever. Also putting some plants up here on the top of the wall there, just to make it look kind of overgrown. And here's where I start working on the stairs. So the stairs kind of like wrap around this hillside here, and yeah, there's a lot of stairs, as you can see. And I think they go down, I don't know if they go back. I think, oh, they do. Yeah, they do turn around and go back. So yeah, there you go. Those are the stairs. Oh, or not. I guess I do it that way. Okay. Well, there you go. Those are the stairs. Yeah, so you can see a lot of stairs to get up to this fort here. But I'm also putting in some rocks here for this kind of like sheer cliff in the front because it looks better if it's got some rocks on it. So I'm just doing that. Putting some rocks here and there and everywhere. Also some ferns, some bushes, just various plants and stuff, trees. Just making it look very, dense and kind of unkept, I suppose. But there's some more rocks in there and some more bushes. And I'm also getting a little bit of a gravel pathway. It's kind of like worn. Also plenty of dirt terrain paint, of course, to go underneath all these bushes and stuff. So yeah. And of course, you could also demolish or just not even build anything on this lot if you download Plymouth Isle, and this could be a residential lot too. It would work well for that. It doesn't have a road connection. It's kind of off of the road. So yeah, I mean, when I made the world, I kind of put a faint terrain paint path to the lot, but it's still like not meant to be like connected to the road. But inside here, I decided to put a few lights, just like a few lamps that kind of like go just around the interior. And this kind of basement area where you enter, I just kind of put some random things in there. There's not like too much. I also put a telescope up on the top of the tower there. I thought that'd be a nice thing to have. But for the inside here, it's just some random junk that I found. A lot of it's actually from pets. It works pretty well. And I also put in some crates and stuff. And I think I also, I put in a roach spawner too, because I thought, well, it's kind of like a gross old basement, so maybe there would be like some sort of bugs in there which aren't so pleasant. So yeah, there's some roaches in there. So if your Sims want to find roaches, you can find them in this basement. And I'm also putting in, I don't know what else. I think that's it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the basement area. And I put in some little plants, I think, down there. I don't remember what. Potato, maybe? I know I put something. But anyway, I think that is pretty much it for this lot. So now we're going to move on here to the fishing hole. Or fishing spot, whatever you want to call it. And I had some trouble with this lot, actually, because of the way that it slopes down. I really couldn't get a lake on here, or a pond. It just kept draining, which was very irritating, and it took quite a few tries for me to get it right. And I ended up having to raise up the terrain, as you can see, like this. So it's a bit weird, but it's what I had to do in order to, you can see, just trying to smooth the terrain, it would just drain the water out because of the way that it sloped down. So yeah, I had to be very careful with the way I did this. But I also had this issue where when I went into Edit Town, the water, like half the lake would be missing water from Edit Town view, which looked really dumb and it bothered me a lot. So I ended up changing the shape of the lake to avoid that part of the lot. And the issue is still there, but when I reshape the lake, it's less noticeable, and I don't really know why. I tried like removing it, putting it back, and it was just whatever. I don't know, it's just one of those glitches, but it did bug me a bit, and you'll see later on I go into like Edit Town mode to check to make sure that, it's not looking weird. But I also put this nice little covered area for the dock, which, it's nice to have. And here I'm just smoothing out the edges there of the lake, which I do change anyway, so, whatever. I also put a little fence around the front of the lot because, there's a road right there, so I thought maybe just have something to, protect cars from the water, although, it's not really, not really much of a strong fence there, but, whatever. So here's where I kind of reshape the lake a bit. Just to make it a little bit, kind of avoid that spot near the front of the lot where it was looking kind of weird. The back of the lot is a little strange because you have like this kind of ridge and then like this hill, but that's really just meant to keep the water in the lake because otherwise, it would just drain out. So yeah, that's why I have it like that. And here I'm going to put in just some, random general lake plants and stuff, all the same kind of bushes and trees I've been using throughout the world just so it kind of blends in nicely. And it's a pretty simple lot. I mean, again, there's not much to it here, but I'm also going to, of course, put in all the spawners that are necessary to make this lot actually function as a fishing spot. So, don't worry about that. There's gonna be plenty of fish spawners here, but this is actually one of the only places to catch freshwater fish in the world. The other one being the lake on the Central Park, or the pond, I guess, on the Central Park also has freshwater fish spawners, and then there's this lake here, or pond. I keep saying lake, it's really a pond, and this pond here. So those are the only two places to catch freshwater fish in the world because there's the beach, and the ocean water, salt water. But you can see that I put some stairs that go down to the water here, so because the beach is kind of like right next to this lot, so I thought that would be kind of like a nice little staircase to have. So your Sims can just go down to the beach because they can swim in the water if they want. Anyway, I'm just changing the colors here of the kind of fencing and railings and stuff on this kind of, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's not really a gazebo, but it's kind of just like a little covered area, I guess. And, I just put some general kind of things in there. I think I put in a bench and like a chess table, like an outdoor chess table, but that's gonna be pretty much all I put in there. But anyway, here's the fish spawners. So there's 3 fish spawners and a freshwater fish, 4 fish spawners, look at that, and a freshwater designator. I also put, I think, some beetles and butterflies just around the lot as well. So, there's some good stuff that can be caught here. And I'm also just going to put a little bit more terrain paint in, and of course, just a few more touches and things, a few more plants here, just kind of around the sides. And I'm also going to do some dirt terrain paint under all the stuff, of course, as I always do. So just doing that now, putting that in, and a bit more of like dried grass, kind of where I'd imagine people would be walking. So I kind of want to have that as well. And yeah, so just doing that, these final touches here, also putting in the stuff I mentioned earlier underneath the cover here. So just a chess table and a bench, that's pretty much it. And just recoloring the fence there, and also a nice little light there inside, so it kind of lights up a bit at night. But yeah, otherwise I'm just kind of just putting in all the little touches, and I think that's it. So now we're moving on to the graveyard. Oh, I actually should have mentioned the fishing spot was built on lot number 82. So just for your reference there, of course, all this will be in the description below as well. Right now we're on lot 104, and this is the graveyard. So, yep, I had planned for this lot to be the graveyard from when I first made the world, and this is kind of near the fort, of course, because this is lot 104 and that's lot 108. So the fort is basically just down the road from this lot here. And yeah, I thought this would be a good graveyard lot because it's kind of away from most residential lots. There's one residential lot across the street, but for the most part, it's kind of like on this nice hilltop. It overlooks the water, and it's not like in a main part of the town here. It's kind of like in a more quiet area. So I thought that would be kind of nice for the graveyard. But yeah, the graveyards are pretty easy to build. All you need is the mausoleum here, which I put in. It's just a rabbit hole. And I guess technically this is the last rabbit hole lot. I mean, I said that the bookstore was the last rabbit hole lot I put in, but I forgot about the mausoleum technically being a rabbit hole. So technically now all the rabbit holes are done, if you want to be, technical about it. But there you go. I think I can confidently say this time this is the last rabbit hole. Anyway, so you have the mausoleum, and then also, of course, just some graves. So those you can find in Buy Debug. And I also put in all the spawners. I looked at the graveyard that's in Sunset Valley just to kind of get an idea of what spawners were put on that lot. So I just kind of put the same kind of stuff on this lot too. So, so you're not going to miss out on anything. And essentially, the mausoleum's kind of centered there at the back, and you have a gate at the front, and kind of this little water feature in the center, which is where I put the death fish spawner. I don't know entirely what, that fish is for, but I'm sure that it's probably good for potions for things like in Supernatural. I'm not entirely sure though. I never really knew that much about kind of like the different collectible items. But anyway, I'll put a death fish spawner in there. Also putting in all the gravestones here, so lots of gravestones, of course, because, it is a graveyard after all. So I was kind of putting them around the place here. And I also put in a couple of plants as well that are collectible or harvestable. I put in the life fruit and death fruit plants. They sounded fitting for a graveyard, so I thought, why not? And I feel like in other worlds they're in graveyards, and again, I'm not entirely sure what they're for, but they're here. They're in this lot, so there you go. I guess I could have looked at Sims Wiki to find out what their purpose is, but I can do that later. So yeah, they're in this lot here. I don't think those are in the Sunset Valley one, but they were. I just saw those in Buy Debug, and I was like, that looks fitting. I'll put them in. Anyway, there's the fish spawner. I also put in a moth spawner, and I put in an iron ore spawner. Why not? I guess your Sims can find those things here, so that's cool, I guess. So anyway, putting in some more plants and bushes and stuff around the lot. It's pretty simple. It's not like too over the top here. It's mainly just gravestones and stuff. But yeah, also putting in just some of those plants I was talking about for a bit. And yeah, just some more bushes and stuff here. The fencing doesn't go all the way to the back of the lot because of the way the terrain slopes downward, and I thought that it would look a little strange to have like the fencing follow the terrain over there, so I decided not to do that, and I just put the fencing kind of on the flatter part of the lot, which works pretty well anyway. And there's the gate, the entrance gate, also some lighting. I put in some lampposts too inside the graveyard here, so it's not completely dark at night. And yeah, I think that's going to be pretty much it for the graveyard. I think I just do a few more small touches here with the terrain paint and like some more trees and bushes, but I think for the most part we're going to be nearly done here with the graveyard. And then we'll be moving on to our fourth and final lot for this video, which will be pretty exciting. So yeah, just doing that stuff here in the graveyard. So doing that, just some a lot of terrain paint, I guess. Just really doing the terrain paint here, making sure it's very thoroughly finished up. Yes, and I added a few more trees at the very end because this part of the lot looked a little empty, so I thought, why not just do that? But anyway, now we're moving on to the fourth and final lot for this video. This is lot number 111, and this is just a very, very basic dock here for the Lighthouse Island, because the island is kind of just on its own, just the lighthouse here, but I felt like there should be a way for Sims to get there, it would look better that way. But anyway, we're actually nearing the end of this episode here because this lot did not take me very long to do. So like I mentioned earlier, you can of course download any of these lots. There's links in the description below along with the lot numbers again, so you can see where they go in the world, and you can download the world of course as well. You can find the overview video on my channel for version 2 of Plymouth Isle, which has a download link in its description. And, there's also a playlist on my channel that has all the episodes as well. And thank you all for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And yeah, so just doing a few more touches here. There's going to be some screenshots in just a few moments. I hope you stick around for those. And let's just show off everything that we finished in this video. And yeah, just doing a little section of plants there before the very end. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time.